Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another edition of Vaping with Empire. This is going to be a little bit of a special edition. I am Hunter, and I've brought in Chapman to answer a few questions for us about what is cloud chasing. Cloud chasing is something that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard a lot about lately. It's been turning into quite the sport, actually. So I brought him in here to answer any questions that we might have.
Sure.
So if you're okay, then let's get to it.
Please ask away.
All right. So I guess we'll start it off with a very vague question of what is cloud chasing? I know it's turned into quite a hobby and a sport for a lot of people. So what really makes up cloud chasing?
Well, cloud chasing is, to me, more than just a sport. It's a culture. Cloud chasing is the epic quest for bigger clouds, better density, distance. People do competitively cloud sport. You know what I mean? We have competitions all across the nation that give away fabulous prizes. And culture-wise, it's great because it brings all vapors from different walks of life, from different shops, from different places together. That's one of the biggest things I enjoy about cloud competitions. It also allows people to have teams. So, you know, you can take a few employees from your local vape shop, mix them in with your customers, and they all practice together. They all have a great time blowing competitively. And the best part is that when you go to a competition and you face off against other shops, sometimes you get to meet new people too. I know that when we work here, because you and I do work together, we're always cloud chasing. And, you know, there's a lot of technique involved. There's a lot of knowledge when you have to figure out what build you want to use, depending on the limitations of a cloud comp, which I imagine we'll get in later. But cloud chasing for me is a lifestyle that has a great fun factor about it, which is cloud competitions.
Awesome.
I love them.
Awesome. So what classes are cloud comps broken into? I'm sure not everybody goes against everybody. So what really breaks up a cloud comp?
Usually, and this is the ones that I've been to, there's 3 different types of classes. You have a single tube mech class, which is like my Ruby right here. And then we have unlimited classes, which could be any mod that you have, whether it's, you know, a box mod or a series mod or a single tube mech, whatever you want to use. And then there's a trick comp, usually, which is the trick comp for me is one of the funnest things to watch because you get to see people do crazy vape tricks. Usually, when it comes to the competitive cloud side, like the single tube mechs or the anything goes class, there's usually a few rules in place. You have your build limit, you have your safety factor. You know, we usually check batteries to make sure. We usually all use the same juice to make sure that someone doesn't have a higher VG concentrate to put out bigger clouds. And there's usually a count involved. So from what I've seen, usually there's a dual count. So you have your purge count, which is a 3, 2, 1, and you purge. And then there's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 count when you inhale. 2 people usually stand back to back. And depending on where you are, I know our Empire Bangor store has a actual gauge on the wall from 0 to, I believe, 12 feet, so that the judges who judge the competition can see how big these clouds are. Some places don't have that. Some people just go off what you see for a cloud. And then we go right down the bracket. Usually there's quite a few people that compete. And there's usually a first, second, third place. First place obviously being the best. And yeah, I mean, that's usually the gist of a cloud comp. And then there's also the trick comp, which I wanted to get back to. You usually have a certain time limit, and you grab your mod and you start doing the craziest tricks you can. Usually it's to music too, which is pretty cool.
Nice. That sounds like a whole lot of fun, actually.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, I know you covered a little bit on batteries and stuff like that, batteries and builds and juice. But what normally equipment do you see? What's our batteries that are okay in a cloud comp? What builds are normally recommended for a cloud comp? Things like that.
Well, there's usually you want to use high amp drain batteries. Usually they're low milliamp hour, like an LG HB6, HB2, which I run basically all the time. You want to at least have a 30 amp pulse battery just to be safe. Building, depending on where you go for a competition, some comps have what they call build limits, so they will not allow you to build your RDA or the coils in your RDA lower than a certain resistance just for safety purposes. Some are unlimited depending on where you go. And juice, we all use the same juice. Depending on where it is and what you use, some people use 0 milligram nicotine, most common. Some do use some with nicotine depending on where you go. But the reason we all use the same juice is that so we all have the same density for vapor. You know what I mean? So if you and I have the same build and me and you have the same juice, then literally it's down to mod and technique.
All right, awesome. I know you discussed the 3, 2, 1 and the counts and everything. So I'm familiar with a lot of different sports, and every sport has rules.
Sure.
Is there any real penalties to breaking these rules?
Oh,
What are the rules that
absolutely.
you have to follow?
Absolutely. Usually one of the biggest rules is you don't go after a count. So for instance, when you do your purge count, your 3, 2, 1, and then there's your your exhale count, your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you were to take an extra second or two, that's kind of a no-no. I imagine a lot of people get warned for that first. We wouldn't just, if someone's new, we wouldn't just, kick them out or anything like that. But there is penalties if you keep continually doing that. One of the big things people don't notice is leaning. So if you stand back to back, say you and I stand back to back, and I get ready to blow my cloud, and I lean my body forward 1.5 feet, that's taking 1.5 feet of distance away from my competitor. So a lot of times there's cloud etiquette. So you want to keep it as fair as possible. But there are certain things that you don't do, and those are 2 of them.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds very reasonable. You talked about places, first, second, third places usually. Besides that, what are the benefits? I'm sure there's prizes that go with it.
Well, usually you have raffles. So, the vape shop that's hosting the event will usually raffle off some prizes, either from their sponsors or from their home store. But for me, the biggest benefit, the reason why I love going to these places, is because there's so many different people from different walks of life, from different shops. You get to meet people you've never seen before who maybe have the same passion that you do for vaping. And also, there's a lot of advocacy there as well. People that care about vaping, that care about this as a sport, that care about this as a lifestyle. Imagine 200 or 300 people in the same room with a like mind. It's a good time.
So we keep saying sport and teams and everything. It seems like there's quite an aspect of brotherhood that comes along with it as well.
Absolutely. I know that our shop, Empire, has our own Cloud Comp team. It consists of captains, lieutenants, members, and pledges. We usually meet every week, once a week, I believe. I think this shop's every Friday. I believe. What's your Bangor store's
Bangor store usually is Tuesday.
It's every Tuesday. So we all meet once a week. And we practice technique. We give each other advice. We help each other with what build we can use to make sure we're being safe. And it gets to the point where we even have our own Facebook groups. So it's when you talk about a brotherhood, it really helps meld the shops together, and it helps make the relationship between customer and employee basically seamless.
Awesome. Well, that pretty much sums up what I have for what is cloud chasing. But now I suppose it's time for a big announcement. I hear there's a Bangor comp coming up.
April 1st, 691 Hogan Rd, Bangor, Maine. I will be hosting a cloud comp with Empire. It's going to be a huge cloud comp. It's actually, I believe, the 1-year anniversary of the Bangor store.
That's awesome.
And we did one last year where I hosted it, and it was ridiculous. I remember, I forget, the kid that won both classes, killed it.
I believe it was Adam Strang.
It was Strang, yeah. Shout out to Strang. Good job. Hope to see you there again. And I believe the young man that won the trick comp was Andrew, and he was amazing. We had, I believe, it was 2 minutes, and we actually have a YouTube video on the cloud comp. So if you go back to the playlist, you can actually see what it looks like. It was amazing. We gave away a timekeeper, which is we did that on a raffle. That was really good. We had a lot of people there, again, from all walks of life, all a bunch of different local shops. It was a really good time, and we're about to do it again, and I'm super stoked for it.
Awesome. So a lot of this everything has to do with vaping.
Sure.
I know there's a lot of FDA things going on in play
yes.
that are regulating vaping.
Yes.
What is tying in this sport with advocacy that's going on for this comp?
Well, on April 1st, we're going to launch our Keep It Cloudy campaign, and this is basically our campaign for advocacy. We will have social media involved. We'll have ways for people to tell their stories about why they vape, what vaping has done for them. Because in less than a certain amount of time, we could lose our right to vape. There's websites out there like CASA.org, Consumer Advocates for a Smoke-Free Alternative Association. Those guys are great. We always encourage customers, members of Cloud Comp teams and other shops to sign up, become a member, do a call to action. Let people know that you vote and you vape. We're gonna have a lot of advocacy there. It's gonna be a blast. I don't want to give too much away, but we'll also have A Billion Lives there, and they do a great movie about advocacy for vaping.
Awesome. That sounds like a really good time, and I can't wait. We talk a lot about this competition and stuff. What is your favorite part about these vaping competitions?
My favorite part about vape comps, honestly, is just meeting everybody. You have shops from all over your usual local area, in this case, the state of Maine, and I get to meet new people that have the same interest that I do. Again, a like mind. I like meeting people that have the same mod as me. I love that story where I break out my Ruby 25 and someone's got a Ruby 25 in the same material. They have a similar drip tip on it. It's just an instant bond with a total stranger who thinks just like you. I think there's not a lot of sports or even lifestyles that can happen in. So for me, that's the biggest deal. And to also see people just enjoy themselves. I mean, I've really rarely seen an unfun cloud comp. So that's my biggest fun factor when it comes to cloud competitions.
That is completely reasonable. And I think that really sums up most of my questions. It was great having you here.
Dude.
Answering questions and
Thank
everything
you.
for us, clearing everything up for us. I know a lot of people certainly had a lot of questions.
Sure.
And I think you did a great job following
Well,
that up.
you did a great job asking questions. Thank you, Hunter.
Well, I appreciate that. Now, I know this was a little bit off the record, out of normal videos for us, but I think it really was needed, especially for upcoming events.
Sure.
And other than that, I think we're all set.
Yeah, make sure you catch us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Empire Vape Shop. You can catch us on Snapchat. I'm at Empire Chappie.
And I'm at Empire Hunter.
And again, remember, in less than 1,000 days, your right to vape is going to evaporate. Now more than ever, we need you to keep it cloudy. So go to CASAR.org, Consumer Advocates for a Smoke-Free Alternative Association.org, become a member, do a call to action, and take care. Keep it cloudy, guys.
Have a great night, guys.